If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Volume 3 of DemoVania, where I play through Metroidvania Demos, give you my thoughts, and then rank them on my world-renowned and patent-pending Metroidvania Guru Excitement Meter. I'm taking a look at 4 games this round, and I'll be starting with a game I've covered multiple times on this channel already, Altered Alma. This is my 3rd time playing Altered Alma's demo, and I gotta say, it gets better each and every iteration. You play as Jacqueline, or Jack, a crusader turned fugitive on the run after refusing orders to kill a bunch of babies. Now, she's looking for a ship and a crew to get off planet so she can buy herself some time to think. First, I want to shout out the game's biggest improvement with this latest demo, its sound design. In the previous demos, there were 0 sounds for the kill shifts, this game's glory kill if you're a Doom fan. But now... no, it's beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, will you just look at this game? You got gorgeous, heavily detailed environments, destructible objects, a slip-on feature in Metroidvanias, and all these people and aliens all over the place. Neo Barcelona finally feels like a lived-in city with bustling crowds and all those spaceships and flying crafts buzzing about. Each of these background characters looks amazing. I can only imagine how much work went into the characters and each of these environments. It all looks so great and is very much appreciated. Combat's coming along nicely. The game has a very generous parry window. I'm not a parry guy, but I was countering these jabronis like my name was frickin' Yee. And you need to master the parry because I don't know how you'd get through this demo's final boss without it. It's a gank fight where parrying this dog stuns him pretty hard and is the only way to reliably get hits in. Aerial combat is sublime. My neurons fire violently whenever I see a flying mob. I leap into the fray and tear through everyone without touching the ground thanks to the Quantum Dagger. After every 3-hit combo, I chuck my dagger at my next victim and continue my airborne mayhem. It's incredible. If you don't know what the Quantum Dagger is, it's a knife you can throw and teleport to. Perfect for closing gaps during combat, but even perfecter for platforming. And this is where Altered Alma sticks out from the saturated MV crowd. It embraces uniqueness and fun movement right out the gate. Well, at least its demo does. We'll see how it plays out in the final version. But yeah, thanks to Jack's movement options, Neo Barcelona feels less like a metropolis and more like a playground. But things really get kicked up a notch once the Quantum Dagger enters the scene. Because there's no limit on using it, you can essentially stay in the air indefinitely as long as you're hitting something with it. This is fun by itself, but then you get all these cool sequences to really test your platforming mettle. Altered Alma's platforming gauntlets are amazing, both in design and feel. Altered Alma has so many environmental hazards and gimmicks to really pull you in. Handles to grab, barriers only your knife can get through, walls your knife can't stab into. The creativity on display is bonkers. There's even a hidden platforming sequence that had me sweating. And there's so much more to Altered Alma, like blacksmithing, character modifications, skill trees, and its dating sim aspect. I still really don't know much about dating, so I'm just going to assume it's going to be like the Persona series where you get boosts in skills based on how deep your relationships get with characters. And apparently, these relationships can get pretty deep. My final thoughts on Altered Alma is that this is the next big MV. The presentation, the details, the movement, the combat, the copious amounts of character expression. Yeah, I'm gonna get addicted to this hard. The story also seems like it's gonna be intriguing as well, so there's no doubt in my mind that this game has got me boiling. I was part of Being and Becoming's playtest a couple of months ago or whenever, and I gotta say, this public demo has some excellent improvements and upgrades. But that's neither here nor there. All you need to know is that this demo is excellent. You play as the sister, a scuba diver in a straitjacket who uses her ethereal arms to wield weapons, and I'm gonna be real with you, I have no idea what's going on here. And that's the game's intent. I picked up a lot as I was playing, which is way more fun than a front-loaded exposition dump, but I still left the demo with way more questions than I had answers, and I was completely cool with that. Narratively, Being and Becoming seems to be very much inspired by Blasphemous. There's a religious overtone to everything, from the visuals to the biome names to the subjects and character dialogue, and it all comes with a dash of psychoanalysis. Think Carl Jung and his archetypes, like the shadow and whatnot. It's all very engrossing in my humble opinion, and has me excited to learn more about this eerie world. And though its presentation and setup are intriguing, it's gameplay that sells games. Thankfully, Being and Becoming's combat and platforming are also great. The sister feels great to control, she's responsive, and her attacks feel weighty, especially attacks from her giant anchor. She also has a parry she can pull off mid-combo, which is awesome, but I was not very good with it. Could be, and most likely is, user error, but I can't help to think there was just too much flashiness going on with some of these enemies, and I got lost in the visual noise. Thankfully, I made a dodge build for my sister, where I'd get perks if I dodged attacks at the right moment, which is how I prefer to play anyway. So I appreciated the options and build varieties. We do get to play a little with progression in this demo. I found chain links that increase my maximum HP, relics to help with my dodge build, and a creepy merchant to buy stuff from. I don't like him, but I did like the bosses. There were 3 boss fights in the demo, and they were all really good. Each had a degree of spectacle, with the final boss going full theater kid on you. I'm talking insane visuals and monologuing while trying to kill you and everything. It's an incredible sequence. But like Altered Alma, platforming steals the show. It's nice to see a couple of high-profile Metroidvanias taking combat and platforming so seriously. You unlock a few abilities in your brief time with Being and Becoming, and each skill is given a nice sequence so you can play around with it. The wall jump felt great, but I really liked the newest skill brought to the party, Metamorphic Surge. It's essentially like a hookshot ability that flings you forward. There's this one optional sequence where you have to use it on moving targets, and it was a lot of fun. There's also a hidden platforming challenge to partake in if you really want to take the sister's platforming skills for a spin. And the game's final sequence is top shelf platforming in creativity, in execution, in being fun. It's an excellent capstone to an already excellent journey, and of course it ends with a WTF moment that'll leave you chomping at the bit to see what happens next. I know I said Altered Alma is the next big MV, but Being and Becoming isn't too far behind. This game's got me boiling. It's a good time to be a Metroidvania fan.
Them kids.
Angel Guardian looks right up my alley. It's going for a 90s anime aesthetic, which is peak anime aesthetic, and does a pretty good job. You play as a young guardian named Kita aboard a spacecraft that's under siege by cyber mages. The king orders you to take his son and escape, and from there, you will embark on escort missions in which you must keep the prince safe as you fight off endless hordes of drones and machines. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I enjoyed this demo a lot, but I don't know how Metroidvania it really is. Based on this demo, which includes 2 levels, I don't think it's very MV. There doesn't seem to be an interconnected world. It's level-based, with a rank given at the end of each level. And it's more item-based than ability-based in terms of progression, so keep all that in mind as we move along. So yeah, Angel Guardian is an escort mission simulator with, at times, endless hordes of machines blocking your progress. Now, I will say, Iji, the tiny prince you're protecting, isn't entirely helpless. He pretty much takes care of himself. You don't get punished if he falls into a vat of acid, repeatedly, and you can throw him to reach items or attack enemies. From the level I played with him, he wasn't a hindrance. You still gotta protect him though. He can be exploded and stolen, and these lead to an instant game over. Combat's interesting and took me a while to get used to, mainly because the game demands you use consumables to survive, and that's something I'm terrible at. There's almost always a screen full of enemies for you to deal with, and if you're not using items, you will get overwhelmed. Thankfully, there are items everywhere, so using them doesn't feel so bad to my JRPG mind. There are items to upgrade your weapons, increase your jump height, make you invisible, make you invincible. There's a lot to play with here, and once I got over my illogical distaste of using consumables, I started having a lot of fun. Angel Guardian, at its core, is a run and gun with some light melee options. You get 360-degree aiming, and every gun has finite ammo, which really stressed me out. I found this game to have a lot of stressors I normally don't like to contend with. Limited ammo, screen full of enemies that constantly respawn in certain areas, escorting an NPC, item-based combat. I was way out of my comfort zone. Then there are hacking minigames that can be interrupted by enemies, and it's too much. But I survived and legit had fun once I embraced item usage. Gosh, what a weird hang-up. There's not an emphasis on platforming, which I appreciated given the overabundance on enemies. But there is an emphasis on exploration, which was unexpected. There are lots of hidden nooks and crannies to discover. Some act as shortcuts, most are full of goodies to help you with your endless battles, some even hide soldiers for you to rescue, which adds to your level rank. The demo's final boss was pretty cool, a welcome reprieve from all the chaos that had led up to the encounter. I don't say this often, but it was nice to go one-on-one with a giant murder mech. Of course he had some ads, but it was still a breath of fresh air comparatively. Yeah, I don't know what to say about Angel Guardian. It has the Metroidvania tag, but based on the demo, I doubt it's an MV, though I could be wrong. I haven't played the entire game, and I've been surprised before. Just look at the messenger. All in all, I slowly came around to Angel Guardian. Initially, I found it too stressful and chaotic, but once I played the game the way it asks to be played, I started enjoying myself. It has a very chaotic, arcadey feel with surprise depth, especially in its level design. And of course, I'm a huge fan of its presentation. Because I'm not certain if it's a Metroidvania, I'm gonna say I'm simmering on this one. It's a good game so far, but I'm cautiously optimistic if it's an actual Metroidvania.
The futuristic city, they'll make their stand, defying odds, hand in hand. Cybernetic enhancements and hearts of gold. They'll protect the innocent stories yet untold. Yeah, guardians of the retroverse, fighting for what's right.
Voivod is a game where you play as a broken warrior looking to repair his fragmented mind in a dystopian sci-fi world. Its visuals and narrative are based on the band Voivod's concept albums, and Chaos Monger Studios, the game's dev, has done an exceptional job of bringing their tale to life. Alright, I'm going to keep footage short and sweet. As the demo isn't publicly available as of this video's publication, the dev has asked me to keep footage down to a measly runtime of 90 seconds. And because I am the unofficial ambassador of the Voivod, the Nuclear Warrior, Metroidvania video game, I will happily oblige. I genuinely feel honored to be given this chance to play an early private demo of Voivod, the Nuclear Warrior. And here's a first look. Time's up. I may be a little biased, but believe me when I say I freaking loved this demo. It's roughly 2 hours long with 2 modes of play. A story mode that focuses on how the game will actually play out and unfold, and a combat mode that just lets you jump right in so you can start blasting. And blasting is what you'll be doing because Voivod is a run and gun with infinite ammo. At least with the default gun. You can get modifiers like a spread shot that requires ammo and a flamethrower I saw in the trailer. Enemies aren't too difficult. You can blast most of them away before they even get on the screen. Some can shoot back, but you can get rid of projectiles with your melee attack. And you'll need to master this because you will not be able to take down the boss without it. The boss was decent. He was a nice skill check, but I felt he had way too much HP. Either that, or I lacked something to deal significant damage, but I don't think that was the case. Platforming feels pretty good. Voivod feels great to move overall, but the focus here is on exploration. There are 2 biomes you can traverse in the demo, and the one called War and Pain is huge, and you don't even get to explore all of it yet. And it's pretty dense. I found a hidden cassette tape, breakable walls, mods for my gun, lots of chests, and a couple of abilities uncommon to the genre. There's one called Deep Strum that, when used in certain areas, does all sorts of things, the coolest being opening secret passages. And the other is called Nothing Face, a skill where you exit your body so you can float around and interact with the environment. I used it to flip a couple of out-of-reach switches. But the game's presentation is where it's at. I love the pixel work. The characters look amazing and are animated very well. I especially like how each enemy has a unique death animation, with many leaving their corpses behind. I love details like that. The environment's pretty slick too. There's parallax scrolling in many areas, which adds depth to this desert wasteland. And there are so many interesting and creepy things to see, like aliens, other weird creatures, and strange statues. It's such a desolate atmosphere. And the dialogue. Boys, does this dialogue hit. The way Nothing Face speaks, his cadence, his word choice, the imagery he evokes, it is incredible. I'm a sucker for good writing, so whoever wrote this, I tip my hat to you. All of this, the grotesque pixel work, the dystopian environments, the intriguing writing, it all mixes to create a distinct identity and world I can't wait to get lost in. Needless to say, when it comes to Voivod the Nuclear Warrior, I am boiling. It feels great to finally get my hands on the game, and I am so stoked it's turning out so nicely. And that'll do it for Volume 3 of DemoVania. Any of these games got you excited? Let me know in the comments which one you're pumped for, or drop the name of some demos you'd like me to check out. As always, like, subscribe, share, and give me your hype points. Until next time, later nerds.